morning, my friends. It's Andy coming to you live from Orange County without my love. There we are. I clicked on it, but you didn't go. Yes, I'm back from Arizona. I'm home now. Came home late last night, and what an adventure I had. I'll talk about it a little bit later probably. But Hetty, how are you?
I am great, thank you. Sorry, everyone. I look a little bit like a wet poodle, but I had a couple of office emergencies this morning.
I like it. I like the look.
Ignore the hair for now.
It looks great. All right. So before we get started, go to livingfearlessdevotional.com. That'll take you to Apple Podcasts, where you can give us 5 stars or give the podcast 5 stars and tell people how great God is. That would be great if you would do that. Give it a little review. I think the last time I looked, there was only 1 or 2. People aren't following direction. Come on.
And there's only 2?
I think last time I looked, there was only 2, but that was like a couple weeks ago. So hopefully people have followed direction. Come on, people. All right. Also, if you're watching, make sure and comment. Let us know, where you're watching from. And if you have any comments about what we're saying and that kind of stuff, that would be fantastic. Anything before we get started?
Nope. All
right. Got to get rid of this frame. And we'll bring up My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. Oh, I love that picture. April 16th is where we're at. And the title is Can You Come Down from the Mountain? The reference is John 12:36. While you have the light, believe in the light. We all have moments when we feel better than ever before. And we say, I feel fit for anything. If only I could always be like this. We are not meant to be. Those moments are moments of insight, which we have to live up to, even when we do not feel like it. Many of us are no good for the everyday world when we are not on the mountaintop. Yet we must bring our everyday life up to the standard revealed to us on the mountaintop when we are there. Never allow a feeling that was awakened in you on the mountaintop to evaporate. Don't place yourself on the shelf by thinking, how great to be in such a wonderful state of mind. Act immediately. Do something, even if your only reason to act is that you would rather not. If during a prayer meeting, God shows you something to do, don't say, I'll do it. Just do it. Pick yourself up by the back of the neck and shake off your fleshly laziness. Laziness can always be seen in our cravings for a mountaintop experience. All we talk about is our planning for our time on the mountain. We must learn to live in the ordinary gray day according to what we saw on the mountain. Don't give up because you have been blocked and confused once. Go after it again. Burn your bridges behind you and stand committed to God by an act of your own will. Never change your decisions, but be sure to make your decisions in the light of what you saw and learned on the mountaintop. I'm going to go ahead and read wisdom from Oswald Chambers down here. Am I getting nobler, better, and more helpful, more humble as I get older? Am I exhibiting the life that men take knowledge of as having been with Jesus? Or am I getting more self-assertive, more deliberately determined to have my own way? It is great. It is a great thing to tell yourself the truth. So far, that might be one of my favorites. Wisdoms from Oswald. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna start with something here because we can as Americans, Americans, not the other side, not Democrats, but as Americans, especially those of us that have had good fortune, right? I was able to go to school and I didn't get a degree, but I did a lot of college, countless hours of college, got a decent job, was able to buy a house, have a car. Maybe at times I had multiple cars. And so, there comes those are sometimes I would think some people look at as mountaintop experiences where you don't have to struggle. Like I don't have to walk a mile to go get water. I actually pee in water and flush it down the toilet, unlike other people in other country. So I always tell my kids, I said, hey, you need to understand that we are part of the 10% of the world that would be considered privileged, not white privilege, but just privileged to have things and be able to do stuff. So I wanted to start that because I know what I'm about to say is going to sound like, now you're talking like a privileged person, but you kind of get used to things like pre-check. right? When when you fly a lot, you don't want to stand in that long line and take off your shoes and your belt. You want to be able to go through pre-check so you can just kind of go through the thing. And I also have Clear, where I put my eyeballs in those things, and it tells the people who I am and that I am who I am, and I'm not a terrorist. And the inconveniences, right? When you're inconvenienced, when you have a past to not be inconvenienced, you can get kind of full of yourself and off your mountaintop when you're inconvenienced. And your privilege is not acknowledged, right? Okay, so I hope I laid that out enough. So yesterday we did our devotional. I was on top of the mountain. We had a great devotional. At least I felt I was, even though I was in a car and you were running the show, and things were kind of reversed. I felt very good about our devotional. I was on top of the mountain, so to speak. But then when I'm driving to the airport, halfway there, I realized, oh, shoot, I forgot. I got to go on an off-site car return. I got to be shuttled with a bunch of other people with masks on, and I hate it. And I go, oh, and so that was my first, like, coming off the mountaintop, like, oh, I got to do this thing. And then I get to the airport, and at my gate, there was no pre-check and there was no Clear. They were both blocked. I had to go through like the rest of the people, all masked up, and go through. I had to take off my shoes. I had to take off my belt. I had to empty my pockets. I had to empty my backpack. Oh, so inconvenience. So then I make it through there. I get on the flight. I'm starving because I haven't really eaten yet. And so I get to, near my gate, and I start looking. All the restaurants are closed. There's not. And in Phoenix International Airport, nothing's open. And I go, what the heck is going on with this thing? So then I get on the plane. We fly to Orange County. I land in Orange County. I'm parked right. Very rarely are you parked right outside the door. I'm right outside the door. And so I get off the gate. The exit to my car is closed. I got to walk all the way to another area. Walk out, and then I have to walk back to where and I had joy. I can tell you. I was texting you, and I said, ugh, and I was a little bit of ugh, but you know what? Everybody I ran into, I said hi to people, the security guy, how you doing? Have you having a great night? And it can be easy for some of us to be so like inconvenienced that now we're angry at people. I love where I am today because of God. It's not because of me. I'm normally a horrible person. But what are you going to do? I just I got to go. And so I ate a melted Reese's peanut butter cup in my backpack and a couple Altoids. That was my dinner last night. So, I mean, I want to share this. Now, it just came to me as I was reading the devotional, because those are I'm hoping I'm reading this devotional right. That's when you're challenged, because that's kind of like some of our weakness as people that have some of these privileges in our life, that when we're just simply inconvenienced, we could be a horrible person. Right. We can say, oh, like it's that person's fault. That's like the TSA guy's fault, or it's the stewardess's fault. Like, I can't believe I have to wear that. You've seen people do this, right? I'm going to just share one last thing. I'm sorry. You're sitting there very quietly and being very polite. But I experienced this on the way out to Arizona. There's a lady that she came on, like she's in group 9. I don't know how many groups there are, but so she's one of the last people. And so she's obviously one of these privileged people. So she gets to her seat, and there's no place for her to put her carry-on right under her seat. And she goes, and she yells to the front of the plane. We're about halfway down the plane. She goes, all right, what am I supposed to do with my bag? If I have to put it back there, how am I supposed to go back and get it? And the people, and then she goes, well, you wait till everybody gets off the plane, and then you go get your bag. And she's like, oh, what do you, what? And so there's that. That was what I could have been. I could have been her, but maybe she taught me a lesson. So I may be completely off base, but these are the little things, right? Off the mountaintop, and you realize that, it's not such a big deal. There's people that have to hike a mile to get water.
Yeah.
All right. Hope I didn't go too far off base there, had you?
No, I'm just a little, I'm I don't know. I'm just kind of stuck. Okay. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna recalibrate now. Just really, I went down a squirrel walk with you. Yeah. What to say about the mountaintop? For me, the coming off the mountaintop experience and how to stay there is trying to feel God's presence when I don't feel God's presence. So there's some times when I feel he's so strongly beside me and ordering my steps and guiding my way. And other times I feel like he's absent and I know he's not absent. And we get in the pattern. You described a day's pattern when you're out in the field. For me, it's just kind of the grind of everyday life. And I just kind of sit there and just slump in a chair and be like, oh, here we go. And I tell you, my expression is time to make the donuts. And I'm like, oh, yeah, time to make the donuts. And I think Oswald's just reminding us that it's so important to remember the mountaintop experience when you're going through the grind of everyday life, and don't have two different ways of dealing with them, where one is your grind personality and the other is your mountaintop personality, where you're just kind of, oh, wow, let's like you can only be happy when everything is great. I think that's similar to what you described, that when everything seems to go wrong, that's when we were really called to shine.
I think what's happened with me in particular, because I actually preach this to other people, but it's never really applied to me. And that is that everything that I have is from God, right? I talk about that. And again, we'll talk about dog training here. I said, teach the dog that everything belongs to you. A dog should never believe that his bowl is his. A dog should never believe that his ball is his. A dog should never believe that the bed that he sleeps in is his. It all comes from you. It's a privilege that you give him. And I say that to the kids. The kids know that nothing belongs to them. It is all a gift. It is all loaned to them. And if I ever want to take it, I don't care what it is. They can perceive that it is theirs. Like sometimes Bo will say, my iPad. I go, whose iPad? He goes, your iPad. And I said, yeah. I said, I don't want you ever to think that I can't take it and say, oh, that's unfair. And so now applying this to me, it has been much better for me when I realize that everything is from God. And he makes decisions on a daily basis, whether I deserve it or not, or whether it's capable. Or he goes, you know what? I'm just going to see how you respond when I take this from you and see how you treat other people. Are you representing me in the times where some of these things aren't available to you? How is it you're going to respond? And so that's why I want to make sure that I take back from that story that I gave earlier, is that my realization that everything is God's. Everything is a gift from God that I have. And if it's never not there, then, it's just he's wanting to see how I'm going to react. Am I going to reflect good on him as a Christian and not take it out on the next person I see? Again, we see that in all the time with people. Like it suddenly your problem becomes their problem. And they're going, hey, listen, I'm a waitress. I'm sitting here trying to do my job and you're taking your day out on me. And so that is really...
We do that in life too, right?
Yeah.
We do that with people in our lives too. Like, I mean, mine, thank you, Mariama. Mine started at 6:45 this morning.
Oh, yes.
Arguing with my daughter. And then from after 6:45 this morning and arguing with her, then I got my dad's office calling me saying the internet's down, we can't work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and then I know I'm trying to prepare. That's why I look like a poodle. I'm trying to prepare for us to go live, because you asked me back at 8:00, are you okay to schedule? And I'm like, yes, I'm ready. I'm good. And then I was thinking to myself, if I carry this with me to this devotional to the rest of my day, it's going to suck. And I'm like, I need to just drop this off and remember that that life is beautiful. The Lord is gracious and kind. And, today's the day the Lord made, and I shall rejoice in it.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, because there's a couple deep breaths like yesterday. I go, oh, what do you mean? I mean, I had a bunch of those little things. I think yesterday, which it started in the morning, right? I flew to Arizona and I flew back in the evening. That the entire day was a bunch of these little messages. Now that I'm looking back on it, because all the little conveniences were not available. Like I have a gold membership for Hertz. I went to go pick up my Hertz and just grab the keys and drive away. And it wasn't, my car was not reserved under my Hertz gold card. So I had to go stand in line like the rest of the people. And so, it started off that way and it ended that way. And I think if I'm gauging this right, that God was preparing me for this devotional, that Andy, you're not always going to be that on the mountaintop. How do you respond? I'm going to take these little things away. Do you recognize that you have these little things? Do you recognize these little things are conveniences that I have allowed you to have, but I can take them away at any time? And he didn't do it in a big thing, right? He didn't cause my house to burn down while I was gone. It was all these little things. Now that I'm looking back, all these little messages. How are you going to respond? How about now? How about now? How about now?
A lot of my days are like that. I feel like that's so strange, but it's true, right? I mean, in order for us to manifest fruits of the Spirit, kindness, gentleness, patience, forbearance, self-control, he has to challenge us, right? Yeah. I mean, how else are we going to manifest those qualities unless they're put to the test? So yeah, that's very cool that you see that.
Yeah. And again, I know I almost felt a little bit guilty bringing up these little things, but it's just, we have to acknowledge that we are so fortunate. I mean, and again, I remind my kids all the time because sometimes they get a little full of themselves and, hey, Dad, can we go get a bacon Gouda sandwich over at Starbucks? And I said, yeah, you can walk. Oh, I got to walk. I go, yeah.
Which is around the corner, by the way.
What's that?
We're just around the corner from your house, by the way.
I can almost see it. If I could stand up, I could probably see the Starbucks. I gotta walk. Yeah, you can. Well, here's the money. Go get it. Oh, I can't believe you're gonna make me walk. What if I get kidnapped? I go, well, then I have one less kid that I have to feed, and that is creates less of a burden on me. All right. So let me. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna say I don't say I do. I do actually say that. Okay, let's look at John. Let's look at the whole passage here, John 12:36, and maybe you can shed some light on it. No pun intended, as you'll hear what I read here. John 12:36 says, while you have the light, believe in the light that you may become sons of light. These things Jesus spoke and departed and was hidden from them. What is that? What is that? At the end, does that mean then is that after Jesus had been crucified? And I'm sorry, folks. The reason that I do this show is so I can learn. And departed and was hidden from them. So then Jesus went away.
Okay, so the story, the description of when, and we are both at this point going to reveal we are baby Christians, and Mariama is on, and she may be able to draw light to this. Hopefully she's still here. But one of the hardest things for me to decipher from the Bible is the stories and parables of when he's here pre-crucifixion and post-crucifixion, because each of the disciples, the 4 books, tells the story in a slightly different way. And there isn't a clear demarcation other than the story of him walking on the path with the 2 men who didn't recognize him. And then he later went to their home and ate with them. Other than that, it's not easy to delineate when is a post-crucifixion story. So this, to me, the way that sentence reads at the very end seems that this must be something he says post-crucifixion, because he spoke and departed and was hidden from them. But I'm not entirely sure. But I can tell you that my understanding of the context is that why Oswald calls attention to this is why you have a little while longer, the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest the darkness overtake you. He who walks in darkness doesn't know where he's going. So this is the verse right before it. Then Jesus said to them, a little while longer, the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest the darkness overtake you. He who walks in darkness does not know where he's going. So in other words, and then it says, while you have the light, believe in the light that you may become the sons of light. So basically take that those times when you have clarity and you have God's purpose over your life and it's a mountaintop experience, take that with you in everyday life. Never go back to walking in darkness.
Hmm.
And I have an example that I want to call to our attention. Yesterday, I got to tell you, so me and Andy have been waiting to find a home for like a good 5 months. And we finally made this commitment and we're so excited. And the devil was trying to stop me. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. I don't think this is a good decision. I tried to go back and forth about 3 times and then signed the contract, done. And then this other house pops up and totally disoriented me. It literally threw me off my game last night. And I was just kind of like, Lord, what happened? And I felt, and I prayed about it because it really threw me off. And I was thinking, and then I felt like he was saying to me, I time everything. Don't you realize I time everything? And it's like, if this comes to you after that commitment is done and you believe you're walking in my way, don't double guess the decision. It's just like Oswald's saying, once you make a decision, don't waver when you believe that God's in that decision. You know what I mean? And it was, that's what brought me peace, is to realize that like, you can't go through life in the decisions and walking in this path and feel like this sense of, remember, because I told you yesterday, you're like, how do you feel about it? Because I signed it, I gave it a positive, and I'm like, oh my God, this is right. We're supposed to do this. I feel like I was being stopped. And then by nighttime, I was like, oh my God, did we make a mistake? Like, how do you switch that fast? And the Lord's telling me, don't do that. Like, you know, that things will happen throughout your walk that will tell you, oh, wait a minute, should I have been over there? You know what I mean? And you can't do that because it'll drive you mad. You know what I mean? Like it was a really, and that's what I'm getting out of this as well, where once you walk in the light, don't go back to walking in darkness and double guessing, you know, oh, maybe I should have done that. And I feel like these life changes that the Lord is walking me through, because literally he's walking me through every single one. Every now and then there is this, oh my God, did I make the right decision? Feeling that he's calling me back and saying, listen, just follow the steps that I have ordered. You know, don't get distracted by things that come up along the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. It kind of reminded me of the discussion we had a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about there was a handler in Indio that had a dog, but he was always looking at everybody else's dog. Right. Oh, that dog's so much better. That dog's so much better looking. That dog bites so much harder. That dog searches so much harder. So that's always going to happen, right? No matter what. We're going to be where we're at. And they go, oh, but I wish my house had a pool. Exactly. Right. Or a bigger driveway. I mean, it happened. I mean, you sent me the pictures. I go, oh, yeah, that house is so nice. And it's less expensive. Like, oh, dang it.
That is so weird. Oh my God. Okay.
And it kind of made me laugh though. I don't know, where was I? I think I was in Phoenix still, maybe when you sent me that picture, but I was like on the flight home and go, yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, and I just thought it's always gonna be like that. We're gonna go to somebody else's house, a friend of ours house, and in the same area, and probably go, oh, your view is a little bit nicer than mine.
And it's so bad because, like I told you, even when we lost, so we put a request in for a different house and we lost it. And I told you afterwards, I was like, no, our house, the Lord has ordained. It is predetermined and we will know it. And it's the same thing. It's the same. And so this one is much better than the last one. But he was testing us with, well, let me show you one that may be even better than the one you thought you got, and see if you're going to have that same optimism, right? Where, no, this is what God has purposed. And there's so many factors involved in that, whether there's love and blessings in the home. Is it where the kids will, reach their full potential? Like you can't look at a building and be like, oh, wait, no, that should have been better, because you don't know if God's joy and blessings are in that home. His blessings are where you walk following his light.
You just reminded me of what I think I ended up thinking about last night too, is that, you know what, I don't know why we need to be there, but we probably won't know for a year or two or however long, 6 months. Who knows? It could be that one of the kids meets the love of their life is the girl next door, and that's what I go, that's just where we're supposed to be,
Exactly. You have no idea. What I started to think about was the danger of having a pool. Like, our kids are good swimmers. What if they have a friend that drowns in the pool, or, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? Or the kids try to jump off the roof. I mean, I know people, very dear friends, that have been paralyzed or significantly injured from jumping off a roof into a pool. Things that we took for granted as kids, doing like, "Ooh, that looks like fun," that have been seriously injured. So who knows?
So in that case, it could have been the devil that offered up that pool and say, "Hey, let's see what they do. Let's see." Do they cancel the old contract? Do they walk away and go take this house? Let's see if I can challenge them in their greed, to have something that they can't have. I'm going to hold it in front of them and see what they do. Oh, so much stuff. Who knew you could, that this was going to come out this way? Let's see, what else was there? I think that was it, right? There was only one reference.
Yep.
And that was the very first one.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about anything about that wisdom from Oswald about what it says at the bottom?
Let me read it one more time. Am I getting nobler, better, more helpful, and more humble as I get older? Am I exhibiting the life that men take knowledge of as having been with Jesus? Or am I getting more self-assertive, more deliberately determined to have my own way? It is a great thing to tell yourself the truth.
Right? People can get crankier as they get older, and I don't know. I tell people, and when people tell us, "Oh, you guys are just so in love because it's new," I'm like, "Listen, we're old, and we don't have time to go through like 30 stages and be like, oh, I think I need a new experience." And I'm like, I'm so grateful to have the love of my life at this age, because we don't have 40 years to evolve and change and like be like, I've outgrown this person. We're going to outgrow each other in the grave.
Well, you don't have 40 years. I have 40 years. But it is. I mean, that for sure is the deal. For some reason, I'm thinking about something. And Amy Felton and I had a conversation earlier about a dog trainer and electronic collars and that kind of stuff. And so we were talking about this a little bit earlier. And the canine world is full of egos. I mean, a lot of other industries are too, but in dog training, nobody can agree. Everybody hates each other. Everybody says the other person sucks, right? And I was challenged because I was thinking about this trainer that she had asked me, and she didn't ask me about it. She asked me about the e-collars, and the discussion came from a dog trainer who's been around for many years. He and I have ran into each other from time to time, but he loves himself a great deal. And that's kind of why this is coming to this thing. And I said, it's one thing, and this was I explained to her, is that, and I hope this is going to make sense. It may only make sense to people that are in the dog business, but but it's one thing to and this is really bad in the dog world, where trainers only take dogs that they have success with. Yeah. So you get a dog, right? And you can see the dog, has potential to be trainable, and the dog isn't aggressive. The dog just has some behavioral issues that you want to work on. And so, yes, I can help you with that dog. You get the next customer comes in, and this dog, right? And the guy goes, and the trainer goes, you know what? We don't have time for your dog. We're booked, and they make excuses why they can't take that dog, because they only want to have success with the dogs that they know how to work with, the dogs that are good. Right. And that's kind of the discussion I was having about this trainer that I am fully aware of, is that he goes out and finds the best of the best dogs and works with them. And he always has great success, because he only takes certain dogs.
Thank God Jesus isn't that way, right? He takes the worst and takes us.
Yeah, and he's just so full of himself. And I just thought, and here I am now being another one of those trainers. Well, he only takes, but I also had to say, it really, that's his thing, and he's doing really well. So God bless him. I said, but on a personal note, what I ended, hopefully, Amy, I don't know if Amy's still on or not, is that what I said to her, I said, as a dog trainer, being the satisfaction that comes from training dogs that nobody else takes, that if you can take a really bad dog and make it good, that that is for you. I mean, that really is what will satisfy you and really help you. There's probably sometimes not a lot of money in those dogs, strangely enough. It's really odd, right? If you, when I was finding the best of the best dogs and sending them to people, I could sell them for $18,000, $25,000. When somebody came to me with a dog problem, they were probably, people that did not have a lot of means. And they said, I could, $100 to train the most difficult dog to train. Right. So there's not a lot of money in sometimes training these bad dogs. But so you have to get the satisfaction of being able to take those dogs that nobody else will train and work with them and try to make them better and make them.
And how did this come to you? How did this come to you from that quote from Oswald?
Is this part right here, getting nobler, better, and more helpful and more humble as I get older. That was the part that I was struggling with. As I caught myself, and I'm so sorry, okay. And maybe I missed that part, and I thought it was on that, but it was that part where I caught myself, where I was saying, "Well, he only takes the best dogs," and then I caught myself and said, "Here, I'm doing the very same thing, and I got to be careful." And that's when I said, he's had great success. I can't take that away from him. I said, but as a trainer, what we need to do is really, understand that the success, the inner success, and the satisfaction of taking a dog that nobody else can train is going to be that kind of dog. And so I kind of changed directions because I felt myself not being humble because I was starting to put down another trainer for what he's chosen to do. That's what he's chosen to do. That doesn't make him a bad person. Right. And so I was trying to catch myself, and I don't know that I did a good job in doing that, but I caught myself of, kind of bad mouthing another trainer, but then I hopefully course corrected. I don't know if I course corrected in time. But it's still there, right? The ego, again, I talked about it yesterday. Ego. What's that?
At least you were conscious of it.
Yep. I'm getting better. How about you? Did you take anything away from that?
Oh yeah, like there was definitely a period in my life that I felt like as I got older, I was getting meaner, and that's what success does. So pride and arrogance makes you meaner. You got a shorter fuse for mistakes and shortcomings of people, because you start to think you're so great that you can't tolerate the smallest mistakes in people that aren't either at your level or doing, whatever their limitations may be. And it was really, thank God the Lord Jesus Christ takes the broken, the wicked, the awful sinners and turns us into better human beings, because without his grace, I could never be the person I am today, which definitely is by no means perfect, but is way better than the chick 5 years ago. Leaps and bounds better. But it's by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. It's by his love and just constant. It's just amazing that he could love us in a way that is constantly making us want to be better.
Yep. Yeah, the last part just simply, it says it all. There's really nothing I can say about it, but it says it is a great thing to tell yourself the truth.
Exactly. Isn't it? Because I don't know. I love the fact that fights with my daughter used to be me ending with pummeling her, just being like, this is your fault, you always do. And now I'm just trying to lift her up, provide discipline and order, but not by cutting her down. And that's just and allowing her to check me. So the same thing that I talked about yesterday with you is like, I want to be open and willing to hear when someone says, hey, what you just did hurt me. You know what I mean? And for me to be like, oh my God, hurt? As soon as somebody uses the word hurt, I'm like, oh no, what did I do? And to be able to be conscious of the fact that I slipped and say, I'm sorry. And I shouldn't have done that. Because it doesn't really matter what somebody does to you or in response to you. The Lord was crucified and whipped. And he says, Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. And so it's relevant what somebody does to us. We still have to do our best to represent grace and love at all times.
Yeah. You were just saying some stuff there that just caused me to take me back to. Sometimes you've had a few discussions with me that, and we talked about the other day about something. He goes, sometimes the way you say things with your command presence can be intimidating, and that what you just talked about, and I can't really take the one thing and kind of go back to it and repeat what you said, but it was just that ability to not respond as the old man would have, and actually go, all right, she's telling me. And again, this is like, I mean, how many times you go to therapy or, counseling, and the counselor says this very thing and you say, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how hurtful that person is. And I'm responding appropriately. But now it's not like that. Now it's like going, you know what? She's telling me how she feels and what she perceives. And my normal response would say, you're being ridiculous, which I probably have said to you from time to time. I don't even know what you're I can't take away what she just said. That is a possibility. And then I think I even said, I say, you know what? My friends used to go on ride-alongs with me, and they said, I don't recognize you.
That's why I asked you that question.
Ken Rush, if Ken Rush is ever watching, sometimes he said, what's that?
That's why I asked you the question, because I'm sure I'm not the first person who saw it. You know what I mean?
No. That was a really good question, because it took me back to Ken Rush. We were driving on Temple in Anaheim, California. There was some guy that was urinating in the alley. I hit him with my spotlight. I got out of the car and I said, why are you pissing on my city? Put your thing back in your pants, stagger back to your apartment and go to the restroom in your toilet, not on my city. And I got back in the car, and the guy, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes back, and I got back in the car, and Ken looks at me and goes, I don't recognize you right now. He goes, and I think at the time I probably was 30. He goes, and I've known you almost all my life. I go, I don't recognize you. I've never seen you speak like that. I mean, you jumped out of the car. Don't piss on my. I mean, from years on, he goes, don't piss on my city. I'm sorry, I'm using the words, but those are the words I used that night. But again, and then my nephew saying the same thing. He goes, I've known you since I was born, and you just act so different when you're in uniform. I don't know. So I hope that didn't take us too far off track there. But
no,
I do. I often want to go to the man in uniform, the old man. And even with you, and I think that I have to be more aware of that it's such a subtle change. I think that I don't pick up on it, but it's a huge change to you and the kids that I need to be more aware of.
Well, it's the same thing. If you want to use the example, is like when you say, because you've seen the same thing in me, where this person comes out where you're like, whoa, why are you talking to me like that? And I know that person, you know what I mean? Like the Lord has walked me through who that person is. I can recall every assistant, every staff member, every friend, every acquaintance, who's ever said to me or said to somebody about me, wow, she's really intimidating. Wow, she could be really mean. And so as soon as you say it, I'm like, oh, she came out. Yeah. Like I don't even have to, you don't even have to tell me twice. You know what it's like? As soon as you recall the situation, I'm like, I know her. I'm like, that's the old her. That's the old man.
We should give those people a name. Like you call me Officer Andy when I'm acting that way or something.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to think of one for me too. And it's so good to tell yourself the truth. So good.
Yes. This is so good. I want to get to Robert Block here. He says hi, of course. And then we got, and this goes back to a discussion we had earlier. The big satisfaction comes from the success you get helping those who are not selective. Yep. And then what you know is all you know. You never know all there is to know. Absolutely. I'm not sure if Robert has heard me say that to people, but I've always told my employees when we've had new employees or employees that I was talking to, trainers, and I said, never think you know everything there is to know about your job. Always go into every day at your job, every day what you're doing, wanting to learn more. And at the time, I think I had, 30 years of dog experience or whatever I was doing. I said, I still learn every day. I learn something every day. And I would just tell them, you don't know everything and you never will. So take each day to learn something new, whatever that is. It doesn't even have to be related to necessarily that thing. Just learn something new, which is what happens every day on this devotional. I learned something not only new about God, but something new about Hedia and about our relationship, which is really cool. All right. Did we cover it all?
I think we did, and more.
I think we covered more. We talked about electronic collars. We talked about dog trainers. We talked about TSA and Clear, car rentals, gold membership. Man, there's not a thing we didn't touch on. Bingo. B-I-N-G-O. B-I-N-G-O. Bingo was his name. Oh, you know that song?
I do.
I love it. I love it when you look like that. When you do that, you go, I do. I'm not sure why we need to hear that right now.
At least I'm not giving you. The old Hedia would have flashed you a look that would have burned a hole through you. So I know the grace of the Lord is over me now. I'm very proud of myself.
Oh my gosh. I've seen that look.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
It's pretty awesome. It's spectacular. That's why I'll go into battle with you because you're my battle buddy. Because
yes.
you can burn holes through people.
So Officer Andy and Witchy Hedia can burn the hole the opposite direction. It's like friendly fire. It's like, hey, you know what? Can you point that over there? Hey, please.
Can I tell you what I was going to say and I stopped myself? Can I say it now?
Is it really bad? Because if it's going to hurt, no.
It goes back to it takes you back to Islam.
Oh, okay.
I was going to call you hijab Hedia.
Ironic that would be the meanest person was the hijab. I mean, I blog about this, that like, no matter how, I mean, here I was I was hell on wheels, wrapped head to toe in clothing. Like, go figure. That makes no sense at all.
You can tell there's a new Andy, and the old man is kind of like, he's still, I'm trying to bury him. I keep throwing dirt on him and he keeps coming back. But if the old man was, I just would have said hijab Hedia. There wouldn't have been this long delay and thought process and wanting to tell you, but not wanting to tell you. None of that would have taken place. It just would have popped out. So as I work all this out, there'll be a little delay sometimes, and I'll get better at it.
No, yes. It's good to think about what we say first. I think that would save us a lot of trouble with our loved ones and people around us if we just be quick to listen and slow to speak, as the Lord says.
Yeah, it's because that's why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, my love?
Done.
I think we've brought up about as many different subject matter here on this show that we possibly could. All right, my friends, we love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure and share. And if you're watching the replay, we would love for you to comment too, because we still see those comments. They'll still pop up. So we would love to hear what you have to say. All right, that is it. We love you guys. And
God bless you. Have a beautiful day.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.